This man became the head coach of a team, made the playoffs, said, hey, we appreciate what you did to the QB, but we're going to build this thing. They get Josh Allen. Patience, culture builds. This year, they go on a beautiful run. Their quarterback took a massive leap from year 1 to year 2, then again in year 2 to year 3. The head coach of the Buffalo Bills. Bills Mafia leader, ladies and gentlemen, Sean McDermott. Yeah! How are you, boss?
I'm great. Pat, how are you doing, man?
Hey, a couple quick things I want to ask about to lead off because I just got text messaged a piece of information. I believe you and I share a massive fanhood for somebody, and that's Tyler Big Ball Bass. That guy slaughters footballs over there for you guys. How did you find this dude? And early, when he was not maybe having as much success, right? Young kickers, they can kind of happen to find it. But then he became a weapon for you guys. And were you as surprised as I am about that small of a guy kicking a ball, maybe the hardest I've ever seen a ball kicked every single time?
Yeah, he really did a great job in his first season. And what I love about him is he's got the one, piece of eye black underneath the eye. He's got a little bit of swagger. He gives the flex after he has a big kick. And, really he did that in college. I was watching tape and Heath Farwell, a special teams coordinator, said, hey, this is the guy. And I'm watching him. I'm going, hey, you know what? And then I saw the flex and I'm like, hey, rewind that because everybody wants a kicker, right? That's more than just a kicker. He's a football player, and I think that's what really endears him to his teammates.
It was awesome. Is that the type of culture that you have built up there? Because it's been impressive to watch that you make the playoffs, Tyrod Taylor. Then you say, hey, Tyrod, have a good one. You kind of build the culture from in there. And I think a lot of people from outside looking in, myself included, we complimented the patience of the Bills organization for being like, hey, they're going to try to build this thing. Like a lot of patience. And the culture that you've built seems to be very, very strong. What is it about your locker room that you like? What is it about the team that you like? And how was it getting to this point through some of those days that maybe weren't as great early in the building process?
Yeah, well, as far as Tyrod's concerned, he did a great job for us, and I don't know that we said, hey, but.
I'm sorry. You get it though.
A lot of respect for Tyrod, and it's really made up by people, right? So that we've got great players that are good people, and the locker room is solid here in Buffalo. Good veteran leaders, and so that's really what we're all about, and it's just trying to get the right people in the door and let it ride from there.
Josh's jump has been almost amazing to watch, to be honest with you. From year 1 to year 2, he got so much better. But he's like, okay, you guys make the playoffs. This guy's going to be a guy. And then this past offseason, I guess when we talked to him, he said he got lasers attached to his body, and he did some lasering stuff, and he lined up his arm with his hips like it was a goal, and he looked unbelievable. Obviously, Stephon Diggs coming in alongside Cole Beasley and the other weapons helps a lot. But what do you think it was that made him make this incredible jump? And what are you looking forward to as Josh just continues to grow in this whole thing?
Yeah, he's done a great job. I mean, that laser treatment, I think I need it for my hair here. bring that with him next time he comes out east here. But no, he's done a phenomenal job. Couldn't be more prouder of the work that he's put in and the progress he's made. And our offensive staff, Coach Dable, does a great job with him. And, look, I can't wait to see how Josh comes back in after the offseason here. So he's incredibly driven. He continues to learn about this league and how this league works. And I think the AFC Championship game was a front row seat for all of us, including Josh, to see what it really looks like and give credit where credit's due to the Kansas City Chiefs. And we wish them all the best. But we're going to go back to work. And I know Josh is going to lead us in the years to come here.
How this year with the COVID protocols, by the way, congrats on making it through a season. By the way, that had to be awesome to try to tackle every single day as a head coach of a team. But how did you have to get creative? How I would assume it's going to be difficult whenever guys are all in their homes and just watching into a Zoom call every single day. How did you just look at it? I would assume as like, hey, everybody has to do this. Obviously you did that. But at what point did there get creativity? How did you keep the team together? Because nobody was really allowed to eat around each other or be around each other. What was the toughest thing you think this season?
Yeah, Pat, I think it was really hard to connect with the team in meetings, because you're not only are you spaced out, but you're behind a mask, so they really can't see your emotions, your facial expressions that go with the communication piece. And I thought our staff again did a great job all the way back in the off season where we put in the quarantine mode, if you will, and I thought we gained an advantage through the way we handled that, and then having the right players, the players that Brandon Beane has put in this locker room goes a long way in terms of these guys got good intangibles, they've got good DNA, and they handled it extremely well.
What's your style? You seem like an entertaining guy. I feel like I would very much enjoy the way you operate on a day-to-day. You get along with the players of the team rather well, I'd assume.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think they know who I am. They know what I'm all about. They know that there's very clear expectations and the standard by which I expect things. And I think when you can do that and lay that foundation and you surround that with good players and good people and a good staff, it makes my job a whole lot easier. When
you become a head coach, was there ever like a, hey, I got to be this type of guy as a coach or anything like that? Because I got a chance, Chuck became a head coach with us. And it was interesting, like watching him have to go through certain situations as a head coach, because Chuck, I think, was beloved by his players, but then he felt like sometimes as a head coach, okay, I got to be able to do this whole thing as well. When you became a head coach in the NFL, did you change any way that you did anything? Did you have to? Was there anything in your life?
Yeah, you do. Obviously, the responsibilities are different, and once in a while you got to be the bad guy, and you have to be okay with that. As long as you have one goal in mind, and that's to make people better and to improve your football team to win games. But I think that's a mistake a lot of people make, is feeling like they have to be someone that they're not or change because they're a head coach. And yeah, there is some of that adjustment that has to go with the job. But at the end of the day, you got the job because of who you are, and you gotta be yourself.
Hey, that big ass hat you wear. Oh, cover that bald ass head you got. I mean, that thing.
I don't know what you're talking about, man.
Do they sell those? They should sell them. I thought about buying one immediately upon seeing the picture of you out there. I mean, it was awesome. Your team was so impressive this year. And then obviously you talked about it in the AFC Championship game, you got a front row seat. What is it about that Chiefs team? And how is it, because we talk about it every day, okay, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, they have somehow, and I'm sure you guys have asked this question in privately, they have signed everybody on their team to a long-term deal somehow, it feels like. They've been able to keep everybody in the building. It makes no sense, but that's in the AFC. And I would assume you guys know, like, okay, we're going to probably have to run into them for a while. I was a part of the Colts team that Peyton and Tom were running into each other every single year. This year, the storyline in the AFC was one that, hey, this is probably going to be a matchup we're going to see for some time to come in this entire thing. What is it about the Chiefs, and how do you think, were they the same team from years like last year, you think, this year?
Well, I think every team changes year to year, as you know, Pat, and I think it all starts at the top with Andy Reid. They've got great leadership, a great coach in Andy. I've worked with Andy for 12 years in Philadelphia, and having that continuity along with Brett Veach, their GM, it goes a long way. In terms of sustaining success, not just having it for 1 year or two. And so they've been now to 3 AFC Championship games and 2 Super Bowls in a row, and very close to being 3 Super Bowls in a row. And I think that's really where it starts. And then signing and re-signing, key players is obviously a big part of it to keep your core together and then build around your core.
Andy Reid and Veach seem to be on the same page. And I think that's a conversation in the NFL that doesn't happen enough. Like, hey, the coach and the GM need to see the team the same way. And it doesn't always happen. And normally, by the way, it gets exposed and it doesn't work. And it's just kind of the way it is. It seems like you and Mr. Bean have an incredible relationship, an incredible view on this whole thing. You guys have been really patient together. How is that? And when did that start? Just naturally? Or is that something that had to be decided upon?
Well, that relationship's an important one, and every year you see that relationship fall apart at different teams and for different reasons. So I think you got to have the right people in those jobs, and they have to be aligned philosophically on how they want to do it, and support each other. And that's what I'm fortunate to have in Brandon Beane. He does a phenomenal job of making my life and my job easier, and I hope I help out in a similar way with him. And But that's, again, going back to the people quotient, and I think it just starts with people. And but you got to hang together, because there's going to be some tough times as you try and build it, as you said, and we've had some of those tough moments. But our hope and desire is we're getting better every year.
Coach, do you guys hear? Back in the day, the old cliche was, "Hey, don't read the press clippings. Okay, don't do it. Don't do it. Just keep it out there." It's impossible now. It is absolutely impossible now, for players at least. For you, how much of that stuff do you hear? I would assume you don't live completely under a football rock. I mean, you might, but there has to be some stuff that you hear from outside. Does that ever trickle its way in? Does that happen? Or are you a guy who's just, anything that's said outside here, I do not give a single damn about?
Well, I don't go that far, but I think you do have to have an element of discipline in this role, in this job, and the same with the GM job. So, as I think it was Bill Polian once said, if you spend too much time reading what they're saying about you, you're going to end up sitting next to them. So, I try and be respectful but everything in moderation. I think that's the key. And there does need to be an element of discipline to get yourself at least through the season, because it's a journey, as you know, right? There's going to be every year, whether you're in the Super Bowl or not, it's a journey, and you're going to have some highs, you're going to have some lows and challenges. And it's really, to me, a test of how long a group of people can hang together. And that's a key piece of it. Yeah,
it's hard. It's hard to win games in the NFL. That is one of the oldest cliches of all time, but it's real. And you see a lot of teams that are very talented that lose. The team that you're building up there in Buffalo is awesome to watch. Seem to win a lot of games. I'm kind of bummed that Bills Mafia didn't get a chance to, do anything awesome this year, especially with the squad. Next year, obviously, let's assume that the smart people of our society figure it out and get us to be able to do the whole thing so we can all enjoy things again. But Bills Mafia back in that stadium with the team you guys have, that has to be something you look forward to, especially with that airport arrival group that was sitting out there. What a legendary fan base up there.
Yeah, you look like you'd fit right in with the Bills Mafia.
Yeah, by the way, I think I would. Yeah,
you may need to take your shirt off or something.
Yeah,
right?
Not right now. It's been a long fall. It has been a journey. It has been a journey.
No, it's a fan base that's unmatched, really. I mean, I've been fortunate to be in a couple different spots before landing in Buffalo, and just an incredible fan base, very passionate, love their team, support the team in down years. And it was 17 years before we got here, before they were back in the playoffs again. And those midnight or early morning arrivals back at the airport when it's 10 degrees and it's snowing outside, I don't know of another fan base that would greet their team the way the Bills Mafia greets us.
And also a worldwide pandemic. Yeah. I mean, add that in there too. But that was awesome. That was like one of those things you watch and you're like, that had to be such a cool moment. Just that whole arrival thing. Last question. The boys have some questions for you. We appreciate you stopping by today, man. I very much appreciate this. Will you watch the Super Bowl? And how will it be something like, will you be at a gathering? How will players, a lot of players that I still talk to that are in the league, do not care about the specific thing. We'll watch highlights. Maybe if they're around, they'll watch it, but nobody. Do you watch, especially with how close? I mean, here we go. The Bills Mafia can taste it, at this point. Yeah. I mean, I look at it every year the same. I try and watch the game and learn a little bit. I love to watch the game unfold. It's as big of a stage as there is in our business. And my wife knows that I really don't look forward to going to Super Bowl parties because not me. I don't like to be bothered during the Super Bowl because, again, I think it's an opportunity to watch the game being played the right way at the highest level, and you can learn from that. We can all learn from that. So, but yeah, I'm not a big Super Bowl gathering guy. But I do plan on watching it. Decision making in those massive moments. Do you consider yourself more of an aggressive guy, analytics guy? At what point do you have somebody in your ear from the sky that has an entire database of the exact yardage with the wind and everything like that on what you should do? How about those decisions in those big moments? What all factors into those types of things?
Yeah, that's a lot of information to process in a short amount of time. I think any head coach would tell you that. I'm probably a little bit of both. I mean, it's just I do listen to analytics. At the end of the day, trust your gut. I think is the way to go. But we do put a lot of work into it leading up to the game, and then during the game as things changed throughout the course of the game. But I got a great staff that helps me here, and overall we've been known to be pretty aggressive, and that's how I like to play it overall. And no situation's the same, but we always look to grow from every situation that we've had and build a good inventory going forward. So that's a big part of the game, as you know.
Those analytics are crazy. I couldn't even fathom a new one popping into my ear. Hey, I want to let you know, in this particular situation, it is actually 7.4% chance higher that you're going to, I couldn't even, all right, should we go or not? That one boy, I couldn't even fathom that. And that's why I'll never be a head coach, which is good. Tone Diggs, what do you got?
Coach, you obviously came up on the defensive side of the ball, and every single year that you've been a head coach, your defense has been ranked higher than your offense. Especially last year, you guys had one of the best in the league. But then this year, it seemed like the offense may have carried the team at some points during the season. How different was that for you?
Yeah, that was. I mean, listen, I don't want to say it was intentional, but we made it a point this offseason prior to this year to go out and say we got to score more points, and in order to do that, you've got to have weapons to do that. And Brandon went out and got Stephon Diggs, as we all know, and that his impact was obviously significant in year one, and so it's hard to have a balanced roster in all three phases. And, we're a group that also believes in playing well on special teams. And I think we showed that with the players we added there, and the results speak for themselves there. So, listen, this is a game where you got to score points. And I believe in the coach and our coaches as a staff, but also on the defensive side that will develop and continue to develop a good defense around here. And so, it's at the end of the day, it's about complementary football and scoring points.
When did you decide when you interviewed for the job, did you have to lay out what you thought the philosophies would be, offense, defense, special teams, overall culture when you get in there? And then does that change whenever Tom Brady leaves the AFC East and it seems like the Patriots, at what do you have to adjust year to year on what the offense, defense, and special teams are going to look like? Or is that like just an overall philosophy thing?
Well, I think you start with the overall philosophy, and then you obviously have to evolve with the times so the game doesn't pass you by. And but listen, I learned I had to build a pretty good foundation and learned a lot being around Andy years ago, and then Ron Rivera in Carolina. So whereby I was able to kind of come up with what I think is the right approach. And if you study the game, even though it does change and evolve over the course of time, the game still in some way stays the same. And so philosophically, I think there's a lot of defensive head coaches out there that, want the best defense. And we certainly want a good defense and the best defense we can have. But you also have to be able to score points to win games. And I like winning. I like scoring, 20, 30 points, whatever we can score. And I think there's a lot of defensive coaches that like winning 9-7. And that's a hard life to live over the course of time.
We could be enjoying this much more. Okay, we could be enjoying this much more.
Right.
I had a coach that once said, it was right before a game, he would sit down next to me and Vinatieri, and we would just have I feel like he was coming to us potentially just to lighten up for a little bit or whatever, we have nothing really going on in warm-ups. We're out here to kick balls, okay? We get it. We're pretty prepared at this moment. And this coach would walk over, maybe a little stressed or whatever, but also I don't think anybody else would talk to him. And the first time he sat down, he said, just trying to score one more point than the other team. And Vinny goes, can we not try to get 50 more than the other? Hey, this would be a lot more fun, for all of us here if we try to score. And
either in the fourth quarter would be nice.
Oh, man. Tom Brady, let's talk about him. Just got mentioned there. The conversation revolving around him for good reason. I mean, he's in his 10th Super Bowl at this point. It makes no sense how this whole thing has gone. What is it about him you think that his teams win? You had to battle him, obviously. What is it about Tom Brady you think that makes him the guy that people are going to talk about 70, 80, 90 years from now if the league and the world survives that long?
Yeah, I'll tell you what I had a chance to witness playing him even before I got to Buffalo and then in the division here for a couple of years is he's got an incredible desire to win and a burning desire, as I would call it, to win. And seems like he puts in an incredible amount of time, and he holds people around him to a high standard, and in fact improves people by the way he plays and approaches the game in terms of helping people improve those that are around him. So I think that's what great players do. That's what great leaders do. And I can't wait to watch the Super Bowl because of I think it's going to be a heck of a game, and two really good teams, two really good quarterbacks, two really good coaches.
What coaches, you mentioned Andy Reid there, Ron Rivera a lot. Do you, in your process of becoming a head coach, are you just like picking things from people that you're kind of because the coaching tree thing is talked about so much, and I think it's because that's the style. For instance, Sean McVay had what did he have, a croissant with a guy?
Yeah, that's right.
Sean McVay had a croissant with a guy. Guy became a head coach. Okay, like the next day, and he's now in his entire. Okay, like that becomes his thing. And I assume whenever they hire these people in the tree, they're like, hey, we think you're going to be that person. Is that an accurate depiction of what people expect and think? And how accurate is that in reality when it comes to the coaching tree thing?
0% accuracy on that, man. It's
okay.
Look, at the end of the day, you can be around people, but if you're not cut out for the job, it's not going to work. So you got to be around people, be a sponge, and then make it your own. And I think that's important. And the longer you're around people, the better chance you have to take the good from them and leave the rest. And that's what you got to do in the different people you're around, and as you go through your career and the different stops of your career, and becoming who you're trying to become as a coach.
That's the thought, though. If any time a coach gets hired from a coaching tree, the immediate follow is, oh, okay, we got this guy. Like, whoa! I don't know if we got the root of the tree there. I mean, we might have got a limb here. I don't know how much it is. It's very interesting. What do you got, Ty?
Coach, when you look at the quarterback carousel this offseason, it's obviously something we talk about a lot, but will you pay any attention to that? Like, if you see something that a big time quarterback that gets traded, does that shock you at all, or is that something you don't really pay any attention to?
Yeah, I mean, listen, we're very happy with Josh, so that's because of that. I'll pay less attention to it than normal if we didn't have a quarterback, but I still think you're always keeping an eye on the industry, right? The league and how things go down. And if there's new trends evolving with how trades happen and the quarterback carousel that you're mentioning, listen, they're hard to find. And we're fortunate in Buffalo that we've got one that we feel really good about, and he's only going to get better.
He was in the MVP conversation this year, and a lot of people think, talking about what you were just talking about, Stephon Diggs coming in helped out a lot. I mean, Cole Beasley, obviously an unbelievable wide receiver. Tough interview whenever he has a jugs machine right behind him. He's talking the entire time. But the broad is Stephon Diggs. I don't know if you heard about that, Coach. I wonder if that made it across your desk. I hope not. But Stephon Diggs coming to your team, when that decision was being made, what were your thoughts? Because I think there was, I don't know, I would assume a lot of people thought Stephon Diggs, maybe because of what happened with Minnesota or whatever. I think a lot of people thought, with how you've built the culture there, how will this work? It has worked perfectly, it seems like, from the outside looking in. What were your thoughts immediately upon learning that Stephon Diggs was probably coming to the team?
Yeah, that's where you got to trust the GM. That's where that relationship is so important, where he knows what I value and I know what he values, and we're on the same page. And so, he's got to trust what we do from a coaching standpoint, and I've got to trust what he does from a personnel standpoint. And we do a great job of communicating with one another. And but within that, there's always calculated risk to any of these moves and what you're doing, whether it's draft or in this case trading for a player. And I can't give Stephon Diggs more credit for the way he came in here, endeared himself to his new teammates, worked his tail off, and the result was what you saw this season. So we look forward to more years with Stephon, and I think it's only going to get better as we move forward. There
were some incredible moments with him and your team this year, and then I cannot believe DeAndre caught that ball. I cannot.
I thought that was a deal that I wouldn't come on unless you wouldn't bring that up.
I know. But you just talked about it because my first thought was Stephon Diggs had that incredible. That was an incredible. That game was electric, Coach. I know it was probably it was a heartbreaker for you, but that game was awesome to watch you guys battle there. And then Stephon had that moment, and then we still don't know how he caught that. I just want to let you know, we stand this show. The reason why he came on this show has no idea how he caught it, and damn it, we wish he didn't. Yeah. You know what I mean? Damn it, we wish he didn't. That was insane.
Great player. An unbelievable moment for the NFL. Obviously hard to watch right now, but it's an unbelievable moment. That's why our game is the way it is, and it's got special players and just special moments, which to me, it's obviously unbiased, but it's the best game going right now.
By far. Biggest, best league, best game, everything like that. Connor, what do you got?
Yeah, Coach, it was reported that the Patriots were the other team trying to acquire Stephon Diggs. Was that something you were aware of, and did that give you guys more motivation to get the deal done?
Nah, I mean, that's all those kind of rumors fly, sometimes during the fact, sometimes after the fact. And at the end of the day, we were trying to do what was best for what we thought was for us. And but that may have been the case, but we weren't getting into that.
Oh, you know what? Minnesota might have floated those out, by the way. Ooh. To kind of, yeah. And by the way, very smart. Keep the blinders on. You know what I mean? Keep the blinders on. Don't even do it. Coach, this has been an incredible conversation. We appreciate you.
I appreciate you guys, man. Great to be on with you. You guys do a great job.
Well, good luck this offseason. And next season, cannot wait to see the boys back in the Bills Mafia with the fans around them. Ladies and gentlemen, head coach Sean McDermott. Thank you. Let's go, Coach. That was an incredible conversation.
Yeah.
I had no idea hey, that's a good convo there with Sean.
Oh, yeah.
I had no idea he looks just like Bill Burr.
I do. 10 times he said things.
Entire time.
10 times.
Is that Bill Burr's brother?
I freaked early. I had a couple moments where I was like, because remember, during the break, who we thought was potentially Sean McDermott was a very different looking Sean McDermott. It was just like, I would assume it was a PR person from the Bills or something. They were sitting on the call. And it wasn't until I was introing him that Sean McDermott, we thought we were potentially getting trolled by somebody. Yeah. He comes in, incredible conversation, looks exactly like Bill Burr. Forgot to ask him about the guy who set up the interview with Cole Beasley that ruined it from Plumber, Jason Barberino.
Oh, that guy's out of the building now. He got fired.
I don't know. Well, maybe now after that interview because we've won over potentially the guy.
True.
I hope he comes back on, man.